Hey, Chris Grove with you for another film review. Today we are doing Day of the Animals from 1977. This movie is directed by William Girdler. It stars Christopher George as Steve Buckner, Linda Day George as Terry Marsh, Leslie Nielsen as Paul Jensen, Andrew Stevens as Bob Denning, Michael and Sarah as Daniel Santee, Susan Backlany as Mandy Young, and Ruth Ramon as Shirley Good. All right, so Day of the Animals is in the category of what I like to call nature run amok films. It's about a group of hikers outside of Yosemite on a guided backpacking trip, excursion, if you will, kind of a survivalist thing, kind of getting back to nature. A lot of people did that in the 70s and today. It's called camping or backpacking or just being one with nature. Anyway, they're on this excursion and something's going on with the ozone layer, which is, well, it's depleting. And it's causing the animals to lose their ever-loving mind and become more aggressive than ever. So you got things like birds, hawks, eagles, vultures attacking people. You have wolves. You have a bear attack. You have a cougar attack. And I don't mean the kind that hang out the cougar lounge. I mean an actual big cat. You have even a rat attack. There's a pretty gnarly rat attack movie in this. And you have all these animals converging. There's even a menacing looking tarantula. I don't think the tarantula does anything, but it looks menacing, and they keep doing a tracking shot of it. But yeah, they're on this excursion, and things are going well until they set up camp. And there's a bickering young couple that's going through some stuff, and the wife, played by Susan Backlany, is attacked by a wolf. And she's in pretty bad shape. And so the husband tries to get her off the mountain. And the guide's kind of letting her know where to go. And then the rest of the crew starts to get attacked. And meanwhile, while this couple is on their way back, they get attacked by a bunch of birds. A bunch of hawks. There's like some vultures in there and a few eagles. Just kind of carry her off the mountainside and drop her. And it's quite a gnarly scene. It's a little over the top, and it is hilarious in its 70s-ness. So things are happening. Then the sheriff gets a call in the middle of the night. And he gets up, of course, and getting ready to go, goes down to the kitchen, and apparently that's when the rat attack takes place, which I'll let you watch. It's just anything I describe, it's just going to make it sound nuts, but if you watch it, you'll be like, whoa, okay, oh my, It's just it's an amazing scene. I might talk about it a little later here, but whew, yeah, that one always kind of gets to me. It's sort of smack dab in the middle of right in the middle of the movie. So it comes down to a head. So we got Christopher George playing Steve Buckner and Michael and Sarah playing Daniel Santee. And so Steve Buckner is the main guide. Daniel Santee is like the assistant guide. And when the shit starts to hit the fan and the animals start to attack, Leslie Nielsen thinks he knows better, because does he have any wilderness survival skills? No. But, he's a real estate developer in Los Angeles, so he knows more about nature than anyone, of course. Anyway, so he convinces half the group to go with him. And, of course, Steve is like, hey, man, I don't think you should do this. He goes, oh yeah, oh no, we're going, and you can F off, and we're gonna go ahead and go down the mountain. Like, all right, well, good luck. So he's leading them on some other way down, and of course Steve Buckner is trying to take them the more responsible route. And I think there might be a safe house where they can call for help too, which they end up doing. But it's needless to say, Buckner's crew fare a lot better than Leslie Nielsen's Paul Jensen crew. So there's a lot to be said about this movie. There's scenes that I do like. There's a lot of suspense before the animal attacks scenes. The wolf attack is pretty gnarly. The bird attack is pretty gnarly. When the sheriff goes down to the kitchen, because hey, he just finds out that there's something up with the animals up in the mountains and maybe around town. He's like noticing some eerie stuff, and there's a build-up, kind of a suspensive build-up to the rat attack scene, and you hear some chewing going, some gnawing in the kitchen. Like, ooh, what's that? And then pulls out some leftovers, turns us back for a minute, and bam, there they are. And it's just whoa, And for someone like me who's both fascinated and kind of terrified by rodents, it's one of those things where I just kind of have to watch it. It's sort of like a train wreck. I'm like, oh my god, but I can't take my eyes off the screen at the same time. So yeah, it's a scene, and that happens smack dab right in the middle of the movie. So now we're just looking at how both sides fare. In the meantime, the husband of Susan Backlund's character, Mandy, now finds a young girl. And the young girl, another airplane reference, as well, Leslie Nielsen was also an airplane 3 years later, and so is this girl. She's the one who's like accepts the cup of coffee from the kid, and he goes cream, and she's like, no, I like the coffee black like my men. And they're like, oh, okay. So I'm glad she survived this movie and has a sense of humor. So that's good to see. And Leslie Nielsen, even though he was still a serious actor, he is a total dick as Paul Jensen here. Just smug, know-it-all, real estate developer. He refers to Daniel Santee's character, who's, I guess, Native American, as Kimosabe. He's just a dick, So, and he does that role really well. And again, this is pre-comedy Leslie Nielsen. But watching him now and knowing his work in Airplane, it's actually even more hilarious watching him now. It's just a funny kind of scene. And it's great. It's just a wonderful scene. And he's wrestling a bear in the rain, and it's ridiculous. So, anyway, we got a spam risk call over here, and I don't know how to turn that on, and I'm not going to re-record this. So, we're going to, let that one go. Anywho, I love it when spam risk calls, don't you? Anyway, so there is a scene where he's wrestling a bear. And he's wrestling the bear from Grizzly, which was directed a year earlier by William Girdler. Came out in 76. This is 77. And when he's wrestling this bear shirtless in the rain, it's just everything that you want to see in a serious Leslie Nielsen role, pre-comedy. Because after he does comedy, you can look back in this and, well, kind of laugh your ass off. But he's also dead serious, and he's kind of scary. In fact, right before the bear attacks, he's getting full-on Lord of the Flies. And shirtless, rainstorm, and there's one line where he yells up into the sky, into the heavens, if you will. Dear God, who has made a jackass out of me. Ah! He does this line. It's just perfect. Perfectly delivered. Or dear Father I'm sorry. The line was, Father in heaven who's made a jackass out of me. And it's just great. It's just wonderful. And it's just everything you want in a movie like this. So, yeah, I like it. So at this point, we're just like, well, who's going to get down the mountain first, and who's going to be the most unscathed? And I will just say that both sides do survive, and they have casualties. And then it just kind of has this ecological message about the ozone layer, and hey, you know, don't mess around with Mother Nature because they will fight back. And it just has that whole theme of a bunch of, you know, city slickers, in this case, people from LA, Angelinos, if you will, getting their asses kicked by nature. And, you know, it's filmed in the southern part of the Sierras. I mean, just outside of Yosemite, just south of Yosemite, actually. So I live in Reno, Nevada. I know a lot about the northern Sierras and Lake Tahoe, that area, but, you know, southern Sierras, it's a little warmer down there. You probably have, you know, a little more critters that are running around that you don't have up here. I don't know if they have tarantulas there, but there's one tracking shot of a tarantula that keeps coming up in the beginning of the movie. And it's like, would they really have tarantulas there? I mean, I can see like Arizona, maybe the Mojave Desert, you know, but I don't know if they'd be like right there, but who knows? The casting is pretty perfect. I mean, Leslie Nielsen is great as Paul Jensen. He just sells the role. I would say that Christopher George, who plays a lot of these type of characters, you know, kind of your rugged hero in a horror or nature run amok film, he does really well. Michael Ansara is great. Susan Backlany really sells it. You know, you can tell like after she gets injured by the wolf and she's had it with her husband, she can just feel the frustration. And Ruth Roman, I've heard her pronounce her name pronounced either way. So Ruth Roman as Shirley, good. She is good at, you know, she kind of has sort of this, I don't know, I guess the best way to describe her in this movie and a lot of other films I've seen with her in it, she kind of is like kind of has sort of a Joan Collins-esque energy to her. Seems kind of highfalutin, but you see her in a lot of B movies. So that's Ruth Roman, or Roman, in this. And Andrew Stevens appears. He's been in a lot of things. Was kind of a young actor at the time and was in The Fury a few years later with John Cassavetes and Kirk Douglas. And he does a really good job in that one. That was directed by Brian De Palma. I might cover that one later. Good film. The movie, just William Girdler really sells this kind of stuff. I mean, he did Grizzly the year before this, so he knows his way around how to film nature and some suspense, and I think he does an even better job in Day of the Animals than in Grizzly, because he did Grizzly before this. So Grizzly was good, and it's also, you know, it's definitely a movie that is worth watching as well. But this one seems a little bit more polished in the detail department and even building suspense department, and he does it quite well. And this was one of the early films about the ozone layer. We got on, you know, maybe you can even call it a green nature run amok film, because I mean it's all about, hey, we got to watch that ozone layer, it's going to deplete, and yeah, this is one of the ramifications that'll happen if we don't watch that ozone layer. So I think that works very well. And again, you just have the city versus country thing, you know, city life versus the wilderness. And it just really, the whole thing really works as the greatest 70s nature run amok movie that I can come across, or that I have come across. So check it out, 1977, Day of the Animals. And if you like this kind of content, please feel free to like and subscribe and share. And again, life is not a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be lived, so live it. Till next time, I'll catch you later. Take care.